Hello everybody, my name is Bragster and welcome back to TEW 2020 where we're in charge of Impact Wrestling. We are off the back of the big 4v4 match that happened in the last episode that then resulted in the main event for this episode, which will be a fatal 4-way between Johnny Gargano, Swann, EC3 and Jeff Hardy for the number one contendership to go and face Ace Austin at Lockdown. Not really, obviously you guys don't know who that is yet, I do know. So yeah, we're gonna have a real packed show. I can imagine there's probably going to be a few storylines that will be weaved throughout the show, as there's going to be a massive fallout obviously because of that 4v4, seeing where everyone else goes from here on out. But without further ado, we shall move on. If anything happens beforehand, I'll show you. If not, we'll just get straight on in with the show. Right, so WWE have had their Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which did end up being an 83 rating, with the main event being Drew McIntyre versus Daniel Bryan for an 86. I don't think there was an Elimination Chamber match. Wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't, because of obviously with trying to get the game to book like WWE do is very difficult, because obviously they have themed pay-per-views. So yeah, but still they got an 83, which is really good, and I thought you guys would be interested in that. Right, so I've booked the show, and as you can see, there is a lot to go through in this episode. For whatever reason, everything's happening in this one. It has gone berserk. Yeah, I kind of lied to you for the last couple of weeks. I said last week was where everything would kick off. I was wrong. It was this week, and I've known that the whole time. So yeah, let's just get into this one, because this episode is huge. Right, so we start off the show with a 69 rated segment where Miro confronts Moose demanding a match, and Moose said he needs nothing from Miro, absolutely nothing. So because he doesn't need anything, he ain't gonna have the match. Obviously he only had the match with Moose last time in a non-title match because he wanted to beat him to prove he was the best. Now he doesn't have to do that. He's got a title, he hasn't. Moose has got a title, Miro doesn't. So therefore, Moose is better. And that's what Moose's point is here. Is like, you have nothing I need. Beating you it means nothing to me anymore. So, yeah, I don't need that match. Because of this, Miro goes straight out. That was kind of like a cold open if you've worked out what I was doing there. It was a bit of a cold open. Miro just walks out and he's like, I demand a match right here, right now. Mick Foley comes out and he's like, no, we're not having this. We're not having you. Just demand matches to come out. And Miro is like, no, I want someone who'd stop me, because on Explosion, he was battering a developmental talent. I'm going to call him developmental talent, even though we don't have developmental. He was battering one and was just like, and then obviously Mick Foley, Tommy Dreamer, etc. came out and stopped him. No, not Mick Foley, everyone else came out and stopped him. Petey Williams, Tommy Dreamer, Stephen Amell, all of these guys came out and tried to stop him. Miro says, I want one of those. Mick Foley's like, no, we're not having this. The show must go on as normal, blah, blah. As he's saying that, Tommy Dreamer's music hits. Tommy Dreamer comes out to the ring, tells Foley, we're having the match right now. So that match begins. So yeah, chaotic start to the show, which just suits the show perfectly because this is a chaotic episode. And that match is a 52 rated match. Miro and Tommy Dreamer drew with one another after 10 minutes following a double count out. This is a wild brawl. They're just going at it constantly against each other, absolutely beating the shit out of each other. And Miro's obviously got the upper hand, but he does not care that he's being counted out. He just completely batters Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer's bleeding, and then once the referee counts him out, Miro spears Tommy Dreamer through the barricade and leaves him high and dry, and Miro just walks out. So Miro just wanted to prove a point. That was basically the whole premise of what he's doing here. Then we have a 48 rated segment where Ace Austin says that he's going to keep an eye on the main event tonight. You know, he said, you know, because of the situation, whoever wins here will be facing me. He was like, so I want to keep a close eye on it, and by doing that, I will be at ringside for the main event. Then we have a 46 rated segment where Elijah Burke and Tasha Steelz are seen backstage once again, but this time the entirety of the Kingdom are there. Again, I didn't let this improve the storyline. I don't know why, but I guess it doesn't really technically have anything to do with the Kingdom storyline at the moment, so it just developing stuff here. Tasha Steelz is seen with the rest of the Kingdom, and it kind of looks like Burke is kind of integrating her into the Kingdom, so little subtleties going on at the moment. Then we have a 34 rated segment where Rohit Raju is like, no, I've had enough. He was like, last week, I'm not having that open challenge. I'm doing a new one, and I want no more creepy people. I can't have these masked people coming after me. And then he hears this. That's right, Manik is there. Manik comes out to the ring and is going for the match right now. So we're going to handle the changes. We're going to change TJP's gimmick into a more Manik style, into a loose cannon style gimmick. This rating is likely to rise over time as the fans get used to the new gimmick. Okay, that's fine. Adequate is completely fine by me. And then the match is a 43 rated match where Rohit Raju loses to Manik after 10 minutes by submission with a figure 4 deathlock. Manik got a 44, Rohit Raju got a 35. So yeah, it's just continuing this storyline that's going on at the moment. Lovely stuff there. But then after the match, Manik isn't the only return, as Rohit Raju gets back. Well, Rohit Raju's on the floor, Manik is standing on top, and Daivari comes out and starts beating up Manik. Rohit Raju jumps on top with a grin on his face, and then Suicide comes out for the save, and Manik and Suicide stand side by side in the middle of the ring. Yeah, we've done it. So maybe that means that Manik and Suicide are now going to be teaming for a bit. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. There's going to be like a 2-on-2 style thing here. But this is a very much a change of pace for TJP at the moment. Then we have a 46 rated segment where Jake Christ had requested an interview, so Melissa Santos is with him, and he basically just slags off RVD. He's just like, you know, RVD cost us the match. RVD's the one that got pinned. He doesn't deserve it. He's old. He's washed up, etc., etc. And RVD comes into the camera shot and is just like, look, mate, you want to prove yourself? Face me next week. So that match is confirmed. Jake Christ versus RVD for next week's show. Then we have a 62 rated segment where Ken Shamrock just enters Foley's office. You see nothing else happens, just Ken Shamrock knocks on the door, Foley asks him to come in, and then he walks into the room. That's all we see. So yeah, that will be brought upon later on in the show. Then we have a 39 rated segment where the Warriors are paying, tell Maria congrats on your return, congrats on your baby and stuff, but you know, they need to understand that the Warriors are paying to a unit, you know, and when they return, they will return together and when you least expect it. So they're just issuing a warning to Allure, really. And they mention Brian Myers as well. They're just like, they basically call him the reject. They keep calling Brian Myers the reject because obviously he's not in the group, but he believes he is, sort of thing. Then we've got, really? Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, we got a 32 rated segment where Su Yung defeated ODB in 17 minutes by stoppage when ODB couldn't continue anymore. She didn't get pinned, she didn't get submitted. The referee stopped the match, got between them both, and Su Yung won the match. Su Yung with a 31, ODB 29, but obviously we know these two can do better, but they just didn't click at all. Yeah, I had plans to continue this rivalry, but I guess I probably won't do that now, and the referee stoppage is a good way of writing ODB off for a bit. Yeah, I had plans to maybe do like a last woman standing match sort of thing, to which, you know, ODB is in control of when the match is stopped instead of, you know, not being in control. But apparently that's not going to happen anymore. I'm going to have to rejig a few of the storylines now, because this one was going to continue for a few extra weeks before a few more people have been freed up, but apparently that's not the case. Then we've got a 44 rated segment where there's a sit-down interview between Heath and Aiden English. Obviously Aiden English isn't really being used at the moment. He's being used on commentary for Explosion, but he's not really being used in the actual show and stuff as a wrestler, as he doesn't really have any storylines. So I thought, what would be a good way of using him? And to be completely honest, this came as a fluke. I feel like he might be the sit-down interviewer now for Impact for the foreseeable future, especially as he has a lot of history with a lot of these guys in the ring. So it's a sit-down interview between Aiden English and Heath talks about obviously Rhino and how Rhino's changed a lot since his time in Impact. You know, he said, you know, he worked hard, he brought me into the company, and now he's just gone. You know, he's, you know, the Rhino I knew when I joined the company is not the Rhino right now. And he said we had never been about opportunities, and yet this has seemed all about me getting opportunities and him not. He said that's just not what the Rhino I know. So very emotional interview here, and Aiden English is obviously in there because he's a new sit-down interviewer and also knows these two very well, so will be able to recall all of their past stuff as well. Then we have a 63 rated segment where Mick Foley calls Ace Austin and Madman Fulton into his office and tells him that to start next week's show, it will be Ace Austin versus Ken Shamrock for the Impact World Championship. Obviously Ace Austin is fuming. He's just like, you know, I beat him. And Mick Foley went, yes, you beat him because of the influence of Madman Fulton. He went, so next week it will be Ace Austin versus Ken Shamrock, and Madman Fulton is banned from ringside. Any involvement with Madman Fulton results in Ace Austin losing the title to Ken Shamrock. Yeah, so that's a huge match for next week, a huge title match. I feel like it's good progression, really. It would, because obviously last time was to keep Ken Shamrock a bit strong and to improve the rivalry of Madman Fulton and Ken Shamrock, but also I thought, well, quite obviously that would warrant a title match, really. So it's a good way of getting Ace Austin to do something while all of this storyline thing is going on to do with the #1 contendership. Then we've got a 49 rated segment where the North say that this change of attitude doesn't affect the inevitable. This is backstage, by the way, and the Rascals tell them to, you know, man up, create a match where they will face each other, and it's kind of the Rascals are like, you know, we're ready to face you in a match. You man up and you go and make the match, rather than us making all the matches. You go and do it yourselves. So that sets up a possibility of a match maybe next week, maybe the week after, but eventually this is going to snowball into a match, possibly at the pay-per-view. So yeah, it was about trying to get this ball rolling on this storyline a bit more, because obviously it's stagnated because I wanted to slow it down. Now I need to speed it back up again. This is a good way of doing that. Then we've got a 37 rated segment where Rosemary defeated Lacey Ryan in about 15 minutes by submission with a Spider's Twist. This is obviously in the Women's Showcase tournament. Rosemary got a 44, Lacey Ryan with a 20. Lacey Ryan didn't perform as well as I thought she could, and wasn't performing much above her popularity, but Rosemary obviously kept that rating reasonably high in comparison to what you would expect with a rating like that. So hopefully the Havoc and Nevaeh one isn't as good as it, or isn't better than this, otherwise I'll regret putting that one on, not on the show. But I hope this one is okay. I was hoping for maybe 40, but I'll take that. Then we've got a 45 rated segment where there's oh, I didn't even put all of the stuff to do with this one. So basically this one was purely on the fact that a 4v4 match is made for next week. So Winnie Mac, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson and Eddie Edwards are on the screen, and they're just like, look, it's about time we did something about the Kingdom. We want a match. Foley has put this match together, he's agreed to it, but he hasn't confirmed the participants. So what they've agreed is it will be Winnie Mac, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson and Eddie Edwards versus 4 members of the Kingdom. Now, they said it doesn't matter which 4 members, they said pick your 4 best members of the Kingdom, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, this is a huge match. This will probably be the main event next week because this is a huge one. And we'll see which members of the Kingdom face off against them next week. Then we've got a 56 rated segment where the Motor City Machine Guns announce that they won't be caught in the middle of a rivalry yet again, and they've set up a #1 contenders match. It will be the Sons of Perfection versus the Dieners, with the winners of that match facing the Motor City Machine Guns at the pay-per-view. This is a huge match. I don't know whether it will be next week or whether there will be some development there. Maybe like another sit-down interview sort of thing between the 2 teams. I don't really know. It depends really what match I want to put on next week, because I've got a few matches in the can for next week. Obviously we've got the 4v4. We've got Jake Christ versus RVD, and we've got Ken Shamrock versus Ace Austin. And then we'll have the final of that section in the Women's Showcase between Rosemary and whoever wins between Havoc and Nevaeh. So we've got a few matches there. So whether this one comes or whether there's a match involving the North and the Rascals, I don't really know. I'll work out what will actually be the best solution once it comes to that week. But obviously that match will eventually happen at some point. And then there's this. So basically they're showing shots of all of the members of the Fatal 4-Way match, which is happening next, and they were like hyping it up, the commentary team were. And as they were showing Jeff Hardy, Darga comes out, and Darga just absolutely destroys Jeff Hardy. Chair shots, putting him through tables in the locker room, absolutely destroying Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is in a lot of pain, and Darga is just grabbing him by his hair, drags him out of the locker room, and just finds the nearest cameraman and just beats up the cameraman, grabs the camera, puts Jeff Hardy's face up to it, and goes, "Are you paying attention to me now? Now I've got your star boy, are you now paying attention to me?" So obviously Hardy is unable to compete in this main event match. Mick Foley, Stephen R. Mountain, Scott D'Amore are all running out of the backstage area. Darga just laughs and runs off as they are attending to Jeff Hardy, and Scott D'Amore just looks at Mick Foley and is like, you know, he can't wrestle. There's no way. He gets the doctor over to confirm. The doctor confirms this. He confirms there is no way Jeff Hardy can compete in this Fatal 4-Way match. So Mick Foley just looks dead at the camera and just says, "Start the match. Just get on with it. It will now be a triple threat match. Just start it." So that is what happens. Yeah, I ruled out Jeff Hardy out of this match, and I thought it was the right decision. I didn't want Jeff Hardy to be the one that won it all, so I found a way to rule him out. And Darga is someone that is really good in the ring and hasn't really done anything. This will confirm the heel turn So that's the heel turn completed. He's now a disgruntled employee, adequate rating. Wins and losses have a greater impact. Can be penalised for losing to a comedy, cartoonish gimmicks, and will be penalised for taking part in comedy bouts, which is fine because he never will. And the turn was a complete success. Lovely stuff. So that is the turn for Darga. To be honest, I've had this in the can for a while. I just wanted the right opportunity to come. Obviously, you hear about a lot of backstage stuff behind the scenes about how they will have a plan for someone's character, but they wait for the right moment. That's basically been me with Darga for a while now, probably since about Destination X time, that sort of time. So, with that in mind, I was just waiting for a moment like this, and I felt like this was the right moment. This makes Darga look awesome, although he did look dreadful in this segment as well. And it will give him a really good match against Jeff Hardy in the near future, which could really improve his popularity as well. So really good stuff. 61, mwah, beautiful. And then the main event of the evening, which was literally just started by Mick Foley, the triple threat match. The main event of the evening is a 56 rated match. I knew it might not reach the heights of what we've previously had, but Johnny Gargano did defeat EC3 and Rick Swann in about 20 minutes when Johnny Gargano pinned Rick Swann with a Hertz donut following interference by Eric Young. Rick Swann was the weak link apparently. He got a 43, but he was weak in comparison to EC3 who got a 57 and Johnny Gargano who got a 54. EC3 looked good in this match, and they all did, to be fair, but Rick Swann got attacked by Eric Young, chucked into the ring, and Johnny Gargano, being the opportunist that he is at the moment, with this little bit of an edge to him, just took advantage of it, took advantage of the interference, pinned Rick Swann. Again, he is not a heel at all, but he's got this little edge to him, this little something that makes him so different to everyone else. He's a face, but he's determined to win. He's determined to get that title, and you can't knock him for that. So yeah, nice segment here. I was possibly expecting a bit more, to be honest, but I'll take it. And that results in a 59 rated show. We had some real good stuff on this show. Probably the matches, to be honest, didn't really hit the heights of what you would expect. You know, the best match on the show was that main event match, but it wasn't quite what we wanted. I feel like it could have been better, but our segments this week really showed everything off. Obviously everything involving Shamrock, Foley and Ace Austin. Then you had the Darga bits as well, all running throughout the show. You had the Miro bits to start off, the Miro and Moose bits. So yeah, really good stuff there. Better than last week's show as well, which is always good. Obviously this one was a chaotic show. It had loads of different things going on, and now you're really starting to see where we're going towards this pay-per-view. Obviously at the moment it is Johnny Gargano versus Ace Austin, but with that title match next week it could change everything. And then we have the Kingdom things developing. You can clearly see roughly, sorry my head's a mess, you can clearly see roughly where we're going with this. So I knew this show would offer a bit more clarity as to who will maybe face who going towards that pay-per-view, and that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want anything really to not be showing up at this point, so I'm really happy with that show. So we got some news where Eric Young says that Su Young's got a lot of charisma and has a lot of upside, which is really good to hear, because I like Su Young. It's just a shame she had no chemistry. Yeah, just a shame she had no chemistry with ODB. We'll look at the size, but I don't think we would have improved on our size this week, even though we had a pretty decent show. No, we didn't. And I can't imagine anyone would have improved, really, if I'm honest. The only one I'm worried about, actually, the only one I'm worried about is Miro, who seemed to have stayed around that 50 mark, which is good. Only because he took a draw, and I wasn't sure if that would affect his popularity, but luckily that hasn't. So we'll move on into Explosion. If anything happens beforehand, I'll show you. If not, we'll just get straight on in with the show. Right, so let's have a look at Dynamite and NXT this week. So Dynamite's gone up massively again, where Adam Page defeated Cody by countout in a match that had been for the TNT title. They had some really good matches on this week's show, which resulted in the 75. NXT got a 68. Jesus Christ. Yeah, bloody Rhea Ripley's insane. And then Onslaught, yeah, the two hard hitters beat Undisputed Era in a tag match, which resulted in the 70s. So they're really performing well, which is great for them. So they got a 68. They're kind of pulling away from me at the moment, which isn't great, but also isn't terrible. So yeah, I thought you guys would be interested in that. Right, so we got an incident involving Ace Austin, where Ace Austin lifted the locker room when he organised and then won a video game tournament. Ace Austin's apparently annoyed. I don't know how they keep getting annoyed at me, especially when I pushed Ace Austin to the moon. Hey ho. But we'll move on into the show, so I'll just book it now. Right, so I've booked the show. Again, another packed show. I don't know what is going on with me this week. My head must be all over the place for my brain to come up with all of these things. So let's just get on with the show. So we start off the show with a 44 rated segment where the Kingdom of Shane Taylor, Jonathan Gresham, Fred Yehi and Chris Bay defeat Triple XL and TNT in about 10 minutes when Shane Taylor pinned Terrence Dudley with an unprovoked violence. Chris Bay got a 53, Jonathan Gresham got 55, Fred Yehi got a 47 and Shane Taylor got a 42. The best performance on the other side was AC Romero. This got the crowd off to a great start. Do you know what? I think they're going to produce a really good match at on Impact, especially with more time. Especially with Jonathan Gresham and Fred Yehi performing so well in tag team action. It's really impressive. Post-match, however, Elijah Burke tells the Rebels that's what they have coming for them on Impact. He said that we're not messing about. Those are the four that are going to face you. So it is confirmed. Chris Bay, Shane Taylor, Jonathan Gresham and Fred Yehi will be facing Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. My brain went blank for a split second. He couldn't even get any words out for a second there. But that is the confirmed main event of Impact this week. Then we have a 36 rated segment where Ken Shamrock defeated Tony Cage in about 10 minutes by submission with an ankle lock. Ken Shamrock got 42, Tony Cage 19. Easy win for Ken Shamrock here, just getting a win back just before his title match on Impact. Then we have a 47 rated segment where Jordan Grace cut a promo on the new competitor that's in the Championship Scramble, which is Thunder Rosa, and you know, just reminding people that basically Jordan Grace is still there. Obviously Thunder Rosa's only been gone a week, so it's not as bad, but Jordan Grace has been gone a while, similar to Peraza, which is why I put Peraza in last week. Thought I should put Grace in this week, and just also putting the storyline heat over a little bit. Then we've got a 64 rated segment. This was a 1 minute segment. Sami Callihan hacks the show. You know it's Callihan because of all the beep, 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 bits, and he hacks the show and it just says congratulations Gargano, and like party poppers go off, the really happy tunes and the cheers of children go off. So yeah, it's a real piss take basically of Johnny Gargano. So yeah, just a 1 minute segment there, 64 rating as well, really good stuff. I might do more stuff where Callihan does that for Gargano. Then we got a 34 rated segment where Daivari defeated Danhausen in about 11 minutes with a camel clutch. Danhausen got 39, Daivari with 34. I just wanted to see where Daivari was at again. Just get him a win over somebody decent in Danhausen, and also against Danhausen a little bit of experience in singles action. 34 rating, you know, getting a 34 rating match out of these two is really impressive given their popularities. Then we got a 32 rated segment where Serena Deeb tells Su Yung that what she did to ODB was despicable. So yeah, talk about transitions. There's your next opponent for us. Yeah, it was an easy transition. I just looked at all of the people that were faces on the roster that aren't being used, and Serena Deeb is one of those. She's one of those that has already passed on in terms of the showcase, so it won't actually matter too much, and it won't matter too much in terms of the showcase at all. Like, she doesn't need to be involved in anything. She's not involved in anything, so this is a good, perfect place to slot her in instead of ODB for the time being. Then we've got a 25 rated segment where Brendan Webb cuts a promo, just a casual promo, and just cuts one and says that he's in Impact, you know, and he wants to make an impact, no pun intended, in the promotion. So yeah, I like Brendan Webb. I think he's got a nice little look to him, so I want to kind of use him somewhere, so this is just the start of that. And then the main event is a 39 rated segment where Havoc defeated Nevaeh in 11 minutes and 30 seconds by pinfall with the Demon Drop. Havoc got 39, Nevaeh got 33, so it was the right choice to move on in the tournament. So it will be Havoc versus Rosemary. What a surprise. That I did get that right, didn't I? Yes, I did. It will be Havoc versus Rosemary on Impact. Obviously them two have history as well, which is, I quite like tournaments where you can have new feuds and old feuds all come together in one. But with Havoc progressing, that means that James Mitchell, who did some good work at ringside, remains in his managerial job with Havoc. However, if Havoc loses against Rosemary, then James Mitchell is fired. As she mentioned, if she doesn't make it into that scramble match, game over. So yeah, really nice stuff there, and it gives us a 42 rated show. Yet again, we're producing some nice shows here, consistently producing nice shows both on Impact and Explosion. It's just all about consistency at the moment. We're constantly just trying to get that popularity slowly up for all people involved, and it seems to be working at the moment. We seem to be going in a lull at the moment for people gaining popularity, so hopefully that can come about, but I think that's because I'm not really making the big people in the division lose to the lower people like I was at the start, so we're gonna have to see where that goes. But next week's a packed show. You can already tell it's a packed show with the 4v4 match, Rosemary vs Havoc, Chris versus RVD, and Shamrock versus Austin for the title. It's a really eventful show next week. Yet again, we keep putting on eventful shows after eventful show after eventful show, but every match we ever do makes perfect sense in the context of everything. You know, there is no such thing as a throwaway match. All my throwaway matches go on Explosion. No such thing as a throwaway match on Impact. Like, similar to the Rohit Raju thing, you know, it seems like a throwaway storyline, but it's introduced Suicide, Davari and Manic all to the division, so it's nowhere near a throwaway thing, and so that's why I try and do it, so you guys know when watching it, nothing is gonna not mean anything. Which is also exciting for a viewer if this was an actual show, and I try to book it like I actually would in real life, because that's more enjoyable, I think, just to see would my shows work. So yeah, that been a good episode. So if you have enjoyed it, hit that up, and if you liked it, comment anything down below where you want me to go with these storylines. Do you like what I've done with Darga and the Jeff Hardy thing? Do you think that's a clever idea, or do you not? What storylines are you enjoying the most? Put those down as well. If you're new here, please do subscribe for more stuff like this, and I shall see all of you in the next video. See ya!